Chapter 51. Blue. All right, so you go. Master begins anew, but I cut him off. Out into the middle of the casting circle and maintain a sit. I finish what he would have said, and the look of surprise on his face is definitely worth it. I present a wide smile that's almost as much for me as it is for him. He's worried, that's plain to see, but I wish there was something more I could do to help him calm down. He's a very talented mage. Even though this is a pretty big assignment, it's nothing to him. He could probably do this with his eyes closed. Yeah, you just have to... He starts, but I cut him off again. Act as a conduit. I finish. There's a blush painting his cheeks that makes this whole scenario impossibly fantastic. What? Is he surprised I listen to him when he rambles? Just remember, he mumbles, but I remember the next part of this speech. I can't talk when I'm out there, and it's not safe if I move. Master, you've prepared me for this. Please don't worry. I won't disappoint. I smile up at him, hoping that I'm not bluffing. I really want to do good for him. If all this worry stems from me, then I don't know any better way to relieve this tension. He's determined not to leave me in the dark about anything, insisting that he's learned from the other mishaps we've had. Not to mention the more recent concerns regarding his ill-considered courtship. There hasn't been much of a development on that front. He gave her the flower, and as much as she hated being shown up, she was forced to recognize Kara's work. Fire lilies aren't common as gifts, but they certainly don't come with a means of keeping them fresh. Apparently, the gift played into Genevieve's awakening, too. She's good at planar augmentation and poisons. Has been ever since she was a kid. Her parents figured out the affinity for the school of magic when she'd pulled a briar toad through the veil in the sitting room. Either way, she must have cracked a tooth, turning her grimace into a smile while all the people came up to congratulate her. Nothing's really changed, but now more and more people are suddenly invested in seeing how this couple develops. Blue, I'm not worried about you disappointing. I'm worried I'm not preparing you. He's been stressing this point for a while, too. No matter what he says, though, I just can't stop seeing this as a result of my past failures. I've been unreliable as a familiar, but this time I'm going to prove my worth. We've been doing these drills for almost 3 days leading up to this assignment. How much more prepared could I get? Master, I thank you for your concern, but please calm down. I try to reassure him. You're right, Blue. I'm just being crazy. Sorry if I'm worrying you, he mumbles sheepishly. No, I thank you for your concern. I try to express how much it means to me that he's gone through so much trouble trying to prepare me for this event. Kara doesn't seem to take notice as he breathes out a deep sigh. Let's get this over with, he huffs before leading us into the classroom. We aren't the first ones to go, for once. The professor has finally decided to let go of his initial problems with the two of us after that first incident. I'm not blind to how hard Kara works in every class. He'd have to be a fool to ignore the effort Kara puts into his class, even if he doesn't like me very much. Soon enough, it's our turn. I move without thought into the center of the room to where all the other familiars had settled. Kara paints out the circle around me, pausing to ruffle my hair in a well-disguised motion. There's a slow building of energy as the magic starts collecting, before it starts to run through the circle. There's just that pricking heat on my skin as the magic begins to charge the circle, creeping closer in undulating waves. I can understand the reason that we get instructed not to move. There's an instinct in me to move away from the energy. I can't see any of the energy, but it looms around me threateningly. The urge to move is almost overwhelming. Suddenly, There's a ripping pain cramping in my legs as I assume the magic works into me. It's entirely overwhelming. I can feel the magic working its way into my form, pressing outwards, making room inside my body. It's a discordant jumble. It occurs to me that I've never actually been used for magic. Whatever my previous masters had used me for was just a cheap shot, running foreign mana through my body. This is different. This is real magic. I want to scream. It's manageable for a while. From what sloppy practice has been played on me, I had expected pain, but this is something very different. It builds. It doesn't plateau like all the other times. The magic swirls inside me, and it feels like my organs are churning around. How did the others stay so quiet and still? But I'm not moving. I'm not screaming. It hurts, but I keep my position. It's probably just their experience. It can't be anything more. I've gotten used to magic that doesn't hurt, but these folks are more familiar with the other type. The magic that hurts as it courses through their bodies is probably just too familiar to them to have it break their orders anymore. There's a plateau, and the magic slows to a trickle as it's building. It doesn't feel like the spell is any closer to being complete, but I take the moment to pry my eyes open. I don't remember shutting them, but as the pain recedes, I do recognize the self-imposed darkness I've placed myself in. Kara is watching. The glowing runes around him are slowly floating and casting the shadowed planes of his face into an eerie light. He's looking at me expectantly. He's waiting for me. I do my best not to laugh at the utterly ridiculous scene. At the idea of a mage waiting for his familiar to let him know the ritual is okay enough to continue. I do my best to nod without breaking position. I don't know much about magic, but I do know timing is very important for ritual spells. I don't want this to drop, or for it to affect his performance in this class. He's being too careful with me. He needs to focus on his magic. The pressure redoubles, both inside and out. The pain and the heat burn inside my body until I start seeing dark spots dancing in front of my eyes. I bite the inside of my cheek until I taste blood. I can't scream. That would disrupt this ritual in a way that Kara couldn't recover from. I can see the feverish look across his features as he pores over his books, mumbling things in the language that I've come to recognize goes with magic. He's focused, and all of this is going as it should. I can't move. I try to steel myself against that knowledge. As a conduit, it could be dangerous if I move. I could disrupt the spell Kara's trying so hard to build. I can do this, I try to reassure myself. All the others made it out of this. All of them were able to hold their position until the ritual was complete. I focus on the sound of those strange words that Kara's speaking. He's walked me through the spell before, but for the life of me I can't place where we are in this ritual. My chest feels like something's squeezing me into a little ball. The charge of the magic is working its way into my muscles. No, I'm not going to move. I'm not going to fuck up. I dig my nails into the flesh of my palms and I force an unnatural rigidness into my posture. I can't stop the gasping. It's a bit more like crying out than I'd like, but I hope that's not too much. I hope it's not wrong. I hope I haven't fucked up. I hope Kara hasn't heard. There's some involuntary twitching as my muscles spasm. I've only moved a couple of centimeters. I hope it's not too much. I hope I'm not messing up the spell. As all-encompassing as the experience is, it's nothing compared to what I feel when the energy drops me. For a moment, I swear I'm deaf and blind. There's a ringing in my ears, bright lights melding together so there's no clear picture.
Ooh, Blue, can you hear me? Kara's voice is the last thing that I hear before I black out. I come to in bed, at home, body aching and head pounding. The curtains are drawn, the covers are pulled up to my chin, and there's a square of solid cold on my forehead that I'm absurdly grateful for. There are voices outside. The quiet sound of them makes me nauseous. I close my eyes and try to remain as still as possible, try to make myself as quiet as the room around me. My heartbeat is too loud. Chest hurts, driving a spike into my head. Can't tell if time passes or how much. Maybe I just pulled myself from my unconscious state, but the voices are back, too loud to ignore. "Look, Kara!" I recognize Shauna's voice after a moment, though she sounds a little more disquieted than I've ever heard her before. "I know you care and all that, and that's cool, but that was dangerous." "Shauna, I didn't see the problem until it was too late. It was all I could do to stop." Kara's nearly shouting, and the loud noise clangs around on the inside of my skull. The feeling rolls around inside of me, and I recognize the ailments of each part of my body in sequence. There's a deep ache set into my body, sore, like I am one big bruise. My throat is dry, and my stomach's churning. "It wasn't safe, and you know it!" Shauna's voice pulls me away from the ailments of my body and back into their conversation. "You saw what happened to Blue!" My throat feels tight as I realize that whatever they are arguing about involves me. "Okay, I know you've gotten attached to your little kitty, but forgive me if I value your life a little more." Shauna's worried tone cuts me to the quick. What happened while I was out? Was Kara in danger? I can't remember us leaving the school. Hell, I can't remember the end of class. "Shauna, you can't say—" Kara tries to speak, but he's cut off again. "Look, you won the bet! You did good! You took care of a weak constitution familiar for more than a freaking month, okay? You win!" Her agitation comes through in her words, but I'm more concerned with what she said. I don't understand what she's saying. What bet? I've been here for more than a month. "This isn't about our bet." Kara speaks, low and threatening, but it is entirely overlooked by Shauna. "I didn't mean for this joke to go this far." My breath catches as she continues in a high-pitched tone. What joke? "It's not a joke, Shauna." Kara tries to calm her down. "But I am the reason you picked him." Her voice is quieter now, with a trembly, gasping quality that implies tears. "You would have made a better choice if you'd gone without me. You have a good head on your shoulders. You wouldn't have made my mistakes. You would have picked a great familiar and taken this whole school by storm." Her voice ends with that same unstable wobble. I feel tears burn in my eyes as well, though I doubt that we're crying for the same reasons. "Shauna, it wasn't—" Master starts to speak, but Shauna must feel the need to get her words out more. "I'm sorry that I pushed you into this, okay? I didn't mean for you to keep him. It's dangerous to have him as your familiar." There's a fair bit of sniffling as Shauna's voice takes on a pleading tone that I haven't heard from her before. "I can't believe we're having this conversation." Master's voice is quiet, the same carefully measured tone that he uses to calm me when I panic. "I'm serious," Shauna insists, trying to regain some of her original tone. "Look, Most of us have secondaries. I don't, but I went through a few when I was starting out.
I remember.
He allows his frustration to drain into his voice. Kara, stop. Please just get a secondary for your magic. Please. I can't see you hurt from this. Trying to cast like this will kill the both of you. Her voice is lower now as both of them have seemed to drain themselves.
Shauna.
His voice is a gentle warning not to prod at the issue. Promise me you'll consider it, she presses.
Promise.
It's a long moment before he responds, but when he does, he seems sincere, and I feel my stomach turn to lead. There's more talking beyond the door, but I can't get my mind to focus. The voices are nothing more than just noise in the back of my mind, making my head spin. I have no idea how much time has passed before my master comes in.
Hey there, Blue. You're awake.
He speaks in the same soft tone he's used to keep me calm in the past, but now it just grates on my nerves. I'm sorry. My voice cracks, reminding me of how sore my throat is.
No, you don't. Look, it was my mistake.
He smiles a self-deprecating smile as he presses a ceramic cup before my face. He always says that. There's a burning behind my eyes as I try to smile and not cry. There's tea in the cup. It's steaming with a light, sweet smell that I recognize as his favored, soothing blend. He's trying to be nice, but the truth remains. He can lie to me all he wants, but this wasn't his fault. I was weak. It's as simple as that. I'm sorry for what happened, but there's nothing I can do to fix anything. I'm not brave enough to say that, though I don't know why. It's just the truth. Nothing more, nothing less. I knew this was coming. I'm weak and ill-suited to this life. It took longer than I thought for Master to realize this, but the truth faces him glaringly. He'll need to get a better familiar, something that can be there for him as he needs. I wonder if he'll keep me. I've been a good pet before. I'm stronger than I've been in a long while. I doubt I could be too much of a strain on him. I'll try to be less demanding if that's what it takes. I don't mind losing my place at Master's right hand, so long as I might remain by his side. But Master is not one for useless things. He keeps very little that is not immediately useful. His house reflects as much. But he does make space for things he loves. I think of the kitchen, how well worn the space is, how bright and full of light and life. I wonder if I'm worth enough to him to be kept like that, as something that brings joy, even if it has no other practical use. Shauna's words come back in a rush. I had wondered why my master picked me that day from among all the others. It was a bet to see if I lived or died under his care. I'm not special to him. I've been deluding myself, just like I did with the others. I'm nothing to this man, even though he's my everything. There's some bitter part of me that wails at how unfair it all is. I wish he hadn't reaffixed the cool towel on my forehead that chases away the worst of the pain. I want to wallow in that pain, allow it to ground me as I try to process everything that has happened. I wish he'd stop being gentle with me, throw me off the bed, yell, rage at the worthless being taking up his time and space that it doesn't deserve. I flinch away from his hands as they card through my hair. I hate that even now I'm taking comfort in the simple gesture. I feel a tear slide down my cheek, but I don't remember summoning the emotional strength to cry. Master pulls away at that. Sorry. I'll keep the curtains down and let you rest. He adjusts the covers, tucking me in just a little firmer, and there's stinging, lancing pain that goes down the flesh he presses against. I can't tell if it's genuine pain, or if I just don't want to accept his touch. He backs away slowly after that, closing the door quietly behind him, and I wonder if I've let my discomfort show on my face. I want to stop him, confront him, scream at the injustice of it all. But I can't do that. It's not my place. I just turn over as the door closes and try to find my place in unconsciousness. I dream of magic, though perhaps it is misleading to say that I dream of it. Rather, it's a nightmare. Pain and horror, laughter at my failings, knowing that there is no other way I could have done better. It's a terrifying cacophony of scenes stitched together with only the barest coherency. There is screaming, people that I know, people that I will never have the chance to see again, the other familiars that I've come to know, masters, guards, instructors, all alike in their aspects to the point that I can barely discern who is the focus. It's all swirling mayhem. And then I see my master. I see the man who had taken me out of all that, who took me out of the cycle of pain and debasement that I had accepted as my lot, the man who healed me and treated me with care unlike any that I had ever known. I see the man that I'd been foolish enough to trust, foolish enough to think that he saw me as more than an object for his own ends. I see him turn his back on me as he recognizes my failings. I see him throw me away like the garbage I know I am. I wake up screaming. "Blue!" Master throws the door open. He's not in his nightclothes. I have no idea how long I've been asleep, but apparently he's either been working late downstairs or I've only been down for a little bit. I try to look around the room as I'm wrenched violently from my dream, trying to breathe through the racing in my heart. The faint light that had been coming through the windows is gone now, and I have no other frame of reference for how late it is. My vision is blurry, and it takes me a second to understand that I'm crying. "Blue, are you all right?" The concern in his voice is palpable. There are tears running down my face, and while I entertain the thought of playing this off as no big deal, reassuring him that I'm fine and need no help in dealing with my internal panic, the words that instead come out are desperate and harried. "Please don't throw me away!" "What are you—" Master begins, but whatever shaking, frantic energy is possessing me forces me to continue. "I'll be good. Better. I won't ask much. I... My hands are shaking, and the whole of my body protests as I try to scramble up, tangled in the sheets. "Blue, calm down. You're here, at my house. It's Kara. Remember? You're having a bad dream." He soothes gently, showing his open palms as he approaches me slowly, like I'm something dangerous. I don't know how to tell him that I know exactly where I am. I know who I'm talking to, being every bit the demanding little bint that I'm swearing I won't be. I don't want to go." My voice is a pitiful whine as I dig my hands into the sheets, desperate to ground myself. "You don't have to go anywhere. No one is making you go anywhere. Everything's okay, Blue. He placates me. I'm amazed that he can lie so well. There's no difference that I can tell between this and all of his other speeches. Though, I suppose he never was being truthful with me. I only know what his lies sound like. It was my own fault that I assumed it was the truth. The thought makes me feel sick inside. The churning nausea within me is overwhelming to the point that I have to shut my eyes against the whirling of the room around me. I must have sat up too fast. The dizziness pitches the entire world on its side, but arms encircle me before I fall. Blue! Stars, are you okay? I struggle against his arms, but I have to stop to catch my breath after just a few moments. Not only do I have nowhere to go if I get out of his grasp, but I doubt I can support myself without his help. I, I'm fine, I stutter out as I'm catching my breath. You aren't fine. You're hurt, and you need a rest. He presses me back into the pillows, pulling the covers back around me as I settle on the bed. Look, it's almost the weekend. I can just go and tell my teachers that I'm going to miss a couple of classes. He explains it like he's worked this all out ahead of time, but fear seizes me. No! I shout before I can truly think it through. I can't let him just stop functioning in his life and force him to take care of me. That's a surefire way to get replaced by something less high maintenance. Blue, you need... He tries to argue, but my goal is too clear in my mind. Please, let's go right back to school, please, I beg, clutching his shirt, pulling him as close as I can. I can't be the reason he's missing classes. I can't cause him any more trouble. I can't be even more of a burden. We'll see you tomorrow, all right? He sighs. Tomorrow, I agree, knowing that my answer won't change. It doesn't change anything in him. He just gives me a smile that doesn't quite reach his eyes. I don't know what it is about his expression, but it makes me feel distinctly guilty. I don't want to be the reason he's sad, but there's nothing I can do, and even less I can say. I keep my mouth shut as he takes the cooling cloth from my forehead, dipping it in a water basin he's left on the desk before setting it back down on my head. I don't like how much I lean into the touch, how desperate I am for it. He talks me through a variety of pain pills, each specialized to deal with certain things. He shows me the differences between them so that I can tell which ones are which, and then he lets me choose which ones I want to take. It's all so ridiculous that I'm having a hard time keeping it together. It doesn't mean anything. Why is he still pretending? Why is he still acting like I'm worth his time or concern? I bite my lip, and by the time Master leaves the room again, I can't hold back my tears anymore. This whole mess has spiraled out of control, but I never had a realistic hold on it to begin with, I suppose. My body aches. There's a nauseous churning in my gut that protests the thought of any movement. There's not a lot I can do. I can't get up. Even lying down, I understand I'm too weak for that. My knees won't support my weight. I can't go to sleep. Not after that nightmare. Not when it's too true for comfort. I'll be on my own for a bit, so I need to be able to distract myself. It can't be that hard. I try to remember what I wouldn't have given for the chance to have some time alone and unharried to sit and heal. I groan and turn onto my side until something catches me underneath the ribs. I dig the hard shape out from under me, confused as to what would be in bed. The familiar image of the front cover of my book stares back at me. It's like the thing is mocking me, a pure symbol of my master's favor, in a time when I failed him so thoroughly. It's almost enough to make me laugh. The little ribbon sticks out of the side, reminding me that I've only made it through a small section of the whole book. The story calls to me, where magic is only good, intent is all you need, and pain is only a figment. It offers escape. Right. Can't sleep, can't move. Might as well read.